All right, welcome back. If you've been watching our videos, we've done two videos specifically around building a Zoom room and building a Cisco room kit. We've gotten a lot of feedback about how do I choose? Which one should I go with? Well, that's exactly what we're going to answer on this video, and this is a Tech Talk. All right, we're back and we are comparing a Cisco room kit versus a Zoom room. From a cost perspective, these two solutions, the Cisco room kit and the Zoom room, are around $3,500 to $4,000. Now, we built these solutions out to be comparable with one another. We're gonna start with our deployment experience. So with the Cisco solution, the Cisco room kit, we got it out of the box and we mounted it on the wall, registered it to the cloud, and it just started to work. With the Zoom experience, it was a little bit different. We had to order a couple of components because we're essentially building a solution. We ordered a NUC, an iPad, and a USB camera, and essentially built that solution. So we installed an OS, we patched it, we deployed the Zoom application on the OS, and then on the iPad, we deployed the Zoom application on the iPad. We got all those things registered together, and then we joined it to the Zoom cloud. So the experience was a little bit different. We spent a lot more time building an OS, unboxing the iPad, putting it in a holder, those types of things, as well as doing the iOS updates on the iPad that you would have to do for any iPad, and then doing the OS updates on the Windows side for the NUC. As we move down the list, so that's deployment. So right away, the Cisco experience is already hands down better from a deployment standpoint, just because I don't need to build the OS. All right, so let's go to support and management. Support and management on the Zoom solution is a little different. We need to think about OS patches. We need to think about antivirus. We also need to think about the Windows OS accessibility. From a user experience perspective, when you walk into a room, in order for the Zoom room to be open and ready, you need to configure auto login. Now, if you're in IT, you know that could potentially be a big security risk. If you have that machine joined to your domain and you configure auto login, essentially you're giving open access to a PC in your environment with a domain account. The other option would be to build another domain or a local account and have it log on and not having the machine joined to the domain. But then the question comes in, how do I manage the OS? How do I manage patch management? How do I ensure antivirus is up to date and patched? Well, you need to build an architecture around that. Now let's transition to the Cisco solution. So essentially it's an appliance. So it registers to the cloud. In this case, we're registering it to the cloud. It's gonna get all of its updates, and it's a closed system, so you don't have to worry about auto logins. You don't have to worry about any of the system management like you need to in a Zoom room. From a support and management perspective, Cisco takes the cake again. It's just easy, you don't have to think about it. All right, let's move on to usability. Let's start with the Cisco solution. So out of the box, there's what they call a Touch 10, which is essentially a tablet. It's right behind me here. And when it goes to sleep, like this one behind me is, if I walk into the room and I touch it, it will wake up the TV, the unit, and the solution. Additionally, if I plug in a laptop to the physical HDMI cord, it'll wake the solution up as well. If I received a call, it does the same. Why is that nice? Well, it makes it just CEO proof. I walk into the room and it just works. So on the Cisco solution, they've got a proximity feature. So if I walk into the room and I have the proximity app on my desktop, it's gonna automatically know that there's a room system in the room and I can click share. From a usability standpoint, Cisco's got it nailed. It's just super easy to use, intuitive. The thing wakes up if I touch the touch panel. It wakes up if I plug it in. So just super intuitive. Let's move on over to the Zoom room. Once it is working, the Zoom room usability is pretty easy. You can use the touchpad and you can connect to calls. It works. The difference is after the Zoom room is left for a while and it goes to sleep, we notice things like the iPad disassociating with the NUC. Another example would be if you walk into the room and maybe the NUC went to sleep and you touch the iPad, the NUC is not going to be controlled by the iPad because the two aren't tied together in the same way the Cisco solution is. Additionally, we found that we had to reboot the Nook a number of times if we left the room alone. Like for example, I don't know if you can see it in the screen right now, but right now it's unregistered. And so we have a process that we had to go through. We had to connect a keyboard, we had to reboot the system, we had to reboot the iPad and reassociate the two of them together. Again, once the solution's up and working, works pretty good. But when you leave the solution for a little while, it goes to sleep and you get mixed results. So that makes the experience really unpredictable, and that's not what you want in an enterprise solution. From this standpoint, usability, Cisco's got this one nailed, hands down. All right, so let's move on to the last thing, our overall experience of the two platforms. So do they both work? Yes, but let's get into the finer details. So when we got on a Zoom call, the audio and the video got a little bit out of sync, and so that made the experience a little less immersive. From a deployment standpoint, we covered all the things that we ran into from the deployment. We talked a little bit about usability and some of the issues we had. Overall, the solution does work. However, we ran into so many issues from a post-deployment stage, like coming in after the fact and the iPad being disassociated. It made the experience really rocky and not something I would really want in my customer environment, because I would always be concerned that the meeting just wasn't going to work. Let's move over to our experience with the Cisco solution. So from a deployment perspective, like we said, we unboxed it. We didn't have to think about the OS. We didn't have to think about patch management. We just mounted it on the wall, registered it to the cloud, and started using it. From a usability perspective, it was just super easy. It was intuitive. If the Touch 10 was asleep or the TV was off, we simply touched the Touch 10, the solution woke up, and we started using it. If I walked into a room and plugged my laptop into the HDMI, the solution also woke up. If I walked into a room and received a call, the solution woke up. So from a usability perspective, it was just much richer and really a seamless experience. From a sharing perspective, we talked a little bit about proximity. We really like that feature. When you walk into the room, it just recognizes the room, and I was able to share content. Contrasting that to a Zoom room, you need to have an agent on your computer, and then you needed to type in a code. So the experience still worked, but it was just not as immersive. So back to the Cisco Room Kit. An additional feature that we really liked that we didn't see anywhere else was the speaker track option, where these are 5K cameras in these solutions, and they're able to digitally crop the perfect shot in essence. So giving you that experience like a director or a cameraman is right in the room, bringing that conferencing experience to life. All right, to wrap it up, our experience with the Room Kit, hands down better than the Zoom Room. Just from an overall deployment experience, manageability, the solution's just from our experience much better. If I'm going to be deploying this in an enterprise environment, I don't want to be worried about executives going into the room and them staring down an iPad that's not registered to a unit. It's not going to make me look good, not going to make the company look good. So I want to go with the solution that's going to work every time, and that was kind of our experience from a Cisco perspective. So hands down, Cisco Room Kit, clear winner. If there's anything that we said in this video that you said, hey, I'd love to know more about that particular feature, leave us a comment, make sure you like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next Tech Talk. Thanks for watching.